listening to the Totally Useless Information Podcast on the Nick and Roy channel, brought to you in part by BPC. It's the best Portuguese chicken in the Toronto area. BPC, slinging chickens since 2010. And by DeMarlo Salon and Spa of Naples. Hair, nails, massage, and skincare for more than 15 years at the Naples location.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Everybody, and here's the wonderful thing, the wonderful different thing about our podcast today. Roy and I are usually 1,500 miles apart. Right now we are 15 inches apart.
Yes, we're using one microphone.
Wow. I flew all the way down here. Boy, my arm's tired.
Nick came down for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, because we are true to form here.
Yes.
Why stop now? That's one of our New Year's resolutions.
One of our New Year's resolutions is to fly back and forth so that I can get some BPC chicken.
Yes. And I came down for a pedicure at DeMarlo's Salon and Spa.
Which, the minute we're finished with this, Nick is actually running over to DeMarlo's Salon and Spa with his wife.
That's right.
To have a couple's pedicure and massage.
Yeah, isn't that romantical?
Yeah.
On this podcast, we're looking back at the past few months. I was going to say it's a look back at the past year, but we've only been on since September 5th, so the past several months.
Yes.
The Totally Useless Information podcast that we've been on the air. So
kind of like the best of.
And in 3 months, there's lots of best of, and I even left some stuff out. It's lots of best of.
Yes. In fact, pretty much the entire show is a best of.
That's right. So you know what? We're going to roll back. No, we're not going to do that.
They don't even need to listen to this show right now. They can just binge listen to every show that we have on Spreaker.
No,
all right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for listening, and Happy New Year. There we go.
We're going to relive some of the funniest moments from the past few months based on the feedback from our listeners. So you people are emailing us at tuypodcast@outlook.com, and you've been telling us what you thought was great and so on. So we look forward in the new year to receiving more of your comments. Again, it's tuypodcast@outlook.com. And don't forget, we use your names on the air as well. Plus, we do things like this, and it's your input that gives us the insight.
That's right. Your input gives us insight. So let's get it going with the Totally Useless Information Podcast New Year's special, highlights and bloopers, because we threw some bloopers in there too. So some think the whole show was a blooper, and we had just a couple of highlights.
Yeah, pretty much.
It all started with our pilot episode on September 5th, 2019.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot speaking. We're traveling at 30,000 feet, and it's time for the Totally Useless Information Podcast, the pilot episode. Who's flying the plane?
Is anyone flying the plane? Who's flying the plane?
Fasten your seatbelts as we are your in-flight entertainment. Sit back, relax, and be amazed at how much useless information is out there.
How many pounds of skin will a human being shed in their lifetime?
The best remedy after being stung by a jellyfish is what? I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy. And we go out of our way to scour the internet for totally useless information
we really don't need. So join us on this journey as we find out together more useless information out there in this
totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know. By listening once a week, you'll get smarter than you think. The Totally Useless Information Podcast, hosted by Nick and Roy.
Well, hello there, and yes, welcome to the pilot episode of the Totally Useless Information Podcast. Hello, my friend Roy. How are you?
Welcome from beautiful, sunny, orange-laden Florida.
Welcome from beautiful Toronto. We have oranges up here, too.
Yes, yes, you do, but you get them from us. But listen, folks, we're 1,500 miles away. We've been friends for how many years, Nick?
Over 40 years and counting. 40.
Right. So 40 years we've been friends. We met in high school. Nick used to live in the United States. He moved to Canada in 1990.
1990, yeah. Wow. Way back when. Awesome. So here we are, 1,500 miles apart, and we've been doing this podcasting since, well, we first met. But podcasts weren't invented back then, so we finally started to record them. And here we are for you, to give you totally useless information. So, like we said, Sit back, relax. You'll be amazed at how much information's out there, and we are here for you.
Well, if Al Gore invented the internet, then we invented the damn podcast.
That's right. Absolutely.
From the pilot episode, Nick introduced us to a remedy that might help you if you were stung by a jellyfish. Get ready for it. Nick talks about a lot of urine on this podcast. I'm telling you, he always does. It's urine, and of course Heidi Klum. But this is the urine thing.
True or false? If you are stung by a jellyfish, this is my teaser. If you're stung by a jellyfish, the best remedy is to pee on it. True or false?
I hope not. I would say true, because I've heard that people do that.
The answer is false. No, not only is this not an effective treatment, but scientists have found it can worsen the sting, so don't do it. According to the Cleveland Clinic, the proper way to treat a jellyfish sting is with hot water, not urine.
So you're at the beach, somebody says, I got stung by a jellyfish. You run over, you pull your bathing suit down, and you start to urinate on them. Why?
No.
Why? Why would anyone do that? I would punch them.
You're in for a real rude awakening.
Okay, well, being that you were talking about urine, what animal has the largest penis in the animal kingdom? What a segue.
It's an amazing segue. Thank you for that. What animal? I would say that I would guess. I don't know if everyone out there would guess the same as me. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Huh? Studio audience? Yes, do you all agree? The horse.
The horse. Well, although the horse has a rather hefty Schwarzenegger, the actual largest penis in the animal kingdom, considered by size, the barnacle, the thing that hooks onto your bottom of your boat, is apparently hooking on with something else. He has the largest penis in the animal kingdom, the barnacle.
My boat or yours? Very interesting stuff. But
okay.
It is. Okay.
Enough urine.
I know, but I love how you said it. So you're going to run down the beach and say, oh, my God, I just like how you reenacted the whole thing.
Usually we're separated, but I guess you could say today, you're in the room.
That's right. Now, some of your feedback included your interest in the jingles that we play on the show. So Roy wrote and performed just about all of them. My wife and I did one. I think the Expressions one, my wife and I did. And then, of course, the great food lady.
Carmen, get it!
But this is one of the first jingles that Roy wrote and performed. It was for our Animals segment.
Yeah.
Animals, crazy animals.
You're going to find some amazing jingles. The budget was set way, way high. You have any loose change in your pocket? Yes, here you go. We threw some coins on the table, and there you go. That was a fun one. One of the animal facts that I had was about the percentage of ice in Antarctica that was actually ice. Nearly 3% of the ice in the Antarctic glaciers is penguin urine.
What?
Nearly 3% of the ice in the Antarctic glaciers is penguin urine.
All right, now I'm pissed.
I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on. Welcome to Penguin Piss Antarctica.
So we did this in one of the episodes. This is how the segment was originally recorded, and we call it Penguin Piss.
Blooper. The urine can simply not evaporate, so it just freezes. Welcome to Penguin Piss Antarctica.
Listen, I have to take a second break. I have to go to the bathroom and do my own penguin act. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
All right.
Oh, thank you, God.
Now, Roy, I know how you love Cinnabons.
And Heidi Klum.
Yes, I do. Those are different kind of Cinnabons.
I think I love Cinnabons more than Heidi, but okay.
I do too. The Cinnabons, that is. They're very addictive. But then here's what you did. You told us a fact about Cinnabon.
Heidi, get out of the room. We're recording.
Then you told us how you can't have any Cinnabons.
You know a Cinnabon? I love Cinnabons.
Just by you saying that, I could smell it now.
I love them. I was just walking through the mall the other day, and there was a pretzel place who actually has Cinnabon and the pretzel place.
Oh my
And
God.
I looked at the Cinnabon, and my wife looked at me, and she was like, "No." Sounds like a lot of things she says. No. Okay, a
So hold
Cinnabon.
on. So what
Yeah.
happened? So when she went shopping, you turned back and you got one, right?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I saw something in that store back there." And then I come back with all like Cinnabon all over my face like an animal.
Did
But
you have a Cinnabon? No.
oh, no. Listen, a Cinnabon has
Yes.
less sugar than a 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi.
No, really? Wow. So see? So wait a minute. So the next time your wife says no, you can tell her it's good for me. You're listening to the Totally Useless Information Podcast, the New Year's special. In fact, we're having some Cinnabons right now. Highlights and bloopers. We're looking back at the past few months since we started the podcast. Roy, you had a great fun fact about how one can get arrested in Kentucky.
Did you know that in Kentucky it is illegal? You can get arrested for holding an ice cream cone in your back pocket.
You got to be kidding me.
Why? Why would you want to take the ice cream cone and put it in your back pocket?
I don't know.
It's not like something that's easily toteable around. It's a hard enough time to eat the thing without it getting all over you. Nevertheless, sticking it into one of your pockets.
I could not even understand this part. So let's say you're going to pick up some ice cream for 3 or 4 of your friends.
Right.
I mean, you don't have any place to, how many ice cream cones can you hold in one hand? So you start putting them in your pocket,
Right.
and maybe someone complained in Kentucky, because all it takes is one complaint. The next thing you know, they've banned back pocket ice cream cones.
Tell you what happened. They probably had the ice cream cone in their back pocket, sat on a seat. Somebody else sat on the seat, got ice cream on their pants, and said, "Son of a,
No, son of a gun.
son of a sea cook, I got ice cream on my pants." What does chewing mastic gum and Fruit Loops have in common? Well, nothing. But this segment was really funny, and I have to hand it to you, though, Nick. It went pretty damn far, I'll tell you. I think we edited half of this out.
I don't think we did. The ancient Greeks used to chew on mastic gum. Mastic gum made from the resin of a mastic tree. The mastic gum, like birch bark tar, has an antiseptic properties to it, and though it is believed to have been used to maintain oral health, both mastic trees were used. Now, if you think of mastic, think of the name to masticate. Listen carefully.
Yes.
To
I hear
masticate
you.
is to chew.
Right.
Yes, if you masticate too much, you can go blind. But as the mastic gum comes from,
I got to hand it to you.
there you go. You have something else you want to share with the world.
Yes, I do. And it's got nothing to do with masticating, which I thought was really off base. Just wrong. Okay, how's about this one?
Yes.
You know Fruit Loops? You've had Fruit Loops ever?
Delicious, yes.
Okay. And there's like what, red and green and blue and Fruit Loops?
Yeah, I'm assuming they represent some of the fruit flavors.
Right. They all taste exactly the same. There is no separate flavor. They just
No,
have
come
different
on.
colors. They actually all taste identical, and people want the red ones because they think they taste better.
That's wild. You just blew my mind. Wow.
Yep. No flavor.
So the next time I pour a bowl of Fruit Loops, if I close my eyes, it wouldn't matter. They all taste the same.
They all taste the same. And I think it's false advertising because they should be called Fruit Loop.
No, they take you for a loop. That's what they do.
Sometimes on the show, Nick comes up with some of the quirkiest facts about cows and urine, and we find out how Nick has some street cred.
In Texas, it is illegal to put graffiti on someone else's cow.
Yeah, that happens a lot in Texas.
Like, what's your tag?
Nick's
Okay,
Nick's trying to give you some street cred here. He's trying.
I'm telling you right now, I'm wearing my jeans halfway down my hips. Yeah, I have street creds, man. You know my favorite rapper,
Is what?
the classical musical rapper Yo-Yo Mama.
Yeah. But the screwed up part is he forgot to put underwear on.
Hey, there's an expression we need to find out. When you go commando,
Yeah.
where did that come from? All right, we'll find that out in the podcast.
I know, and I never want to see it.
That's right. Baby robins eat 14 feet of earthworms every day.
Hold on, wait a minute. What happened with the graffitiing cows? What was the story there?
It's illegal. Hold on. I told you already. In Texas, it's illegal to put graffiti on someone else's cow. It's a law.
Okay.
Do you need anything else? Like,
Oh,
that's all you need to know.
I need nothing else after that.
Baby robins eat 14 feet of earthworms every day. And if you're in Texas, don't put graffiti on someone else's cow.
No.
Roy and I talked a lot about that kind of stuff, but we also talked about the expression a wolf in sheep's clothing when we somehow wind up making fun of the 10 Commandments. The wolf in sheep's clothing, speaking of soft and fluffy, a person or thing that appears friendly, but it's really hostile. The warning that you won't necessarily trust someone that appears kind and friendly is centuries old, but it dates back to the Bible, the King James Version of the Bible from 1611 in this passage in Matthew 7:15, for those of you following along. The King James Version of the Bible, Matthew 7:15. Beware of...
Good.
It's very angelic. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are wolves.
So it is biblical.
That's right. Cue the 10 Commandments music. If we had like a budget...
So where's that Moses now? What the hell was Edward G. Robinson doing in that film? He had this Brooklyn accent. He's in the middle of the desert. And where's the Moses now?
I see you. See.
I got a false prophet here.
That was hysterical. And if that wasn't sacrilegious enough, when God appeared in the burning bush, when he appeared to Moses, he said, I am what I am. I'm wondering if maybe the deleted scene was, I am what I am. You are who you are. You know.
Just messing with him. Is this mic on?
Yes.
Is this mic
Exactly.
live? Testing.
Is this on?
Testing, Moses. Testing.
Yes. If you're wondering why we're not here next week.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Is that evangelical group that's picketing the show? As we look back at the past several months of the show, one of my favorites was when Nick talked about the many uses for the kids' toy Slinky.
Do you remember the Slinky as a kid?
Oh, yes. In fact, it was, what was the commercial going down the stair?
What walks downstairs
This
alone
one.
or in pairs and makes a slinkety sound? A spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's
All
Slinky.
together now.
It's Slinky, it's Slinky. For fun, it's a wonderful toy.
A
They're
Slinky,
Slinkies, they're
a Slinky.
Slinkies. They're fun for girls and boys.
Girls and boys.
Ah, girls.
Slinky. For girls and boys. That was a pretty catchy jingle for the day. Slinky was an excellent squirrel deterrent for bird feeders.
Ooh.
When mounted on the pole of the bird feeder, it stops the squirrels from climbing up the pole. So the squirrel will try to go up and the Slinky will come back down, and the squirrel would not get to the bird feed.
It is for girls and boys because I met a girl one time who wore a Slinky negligee.
Invented in 1943, moving on, it was used in the Vietnam War.
The Slinky
Yep.
or the negligee?
No. No.
It was worn by the enemy.
Well,
Oh, GI. He love you long time.
long time. It was used in the Vietnam War, the Slinky was, as an impromptu radio antenna. It received a frequency of 7 to 8 megahertz, and soldiers clipped on one end of the Slinky to the radio, and the other end was sent up a tree. It was
Oh.
lightweight,
Awesome.
and it received a really clear signal.
What walks downstairs alone or in pairs and makes a slinkety sound? A spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky, it's Slinky, it's Slinky. For fun, it's a wonderful toy. They're Slinkies, they're Slinkies. They're fun for girls and boys.
You're listening to the Totally Useless Information podcast as we look back. It's the New Year special as we look back at some of the highlights and bloopers. But before we continue with that,
Okay.
so as Roy mentioned, we spent our Christmas holidays down here in Florida with him. So we are actually doing this podcast in the same room where normally we're 1,500 miles apart.
Get to the good stuff. Nick gets off the plane with this little styrofoam thing, and it's got dry ice in it and a freaking BPC chicken in it.
So I said, hey, nice to see you. Merry Christmas. He goes, what the heck is this? It wasn't even wrapped. He opened the lid of the styrofoam tray, and what did you find, Roy?
A BPC chicken. And listen to me, a day old BPC chicken is better than any other chicken I've ever had. It's, folks, this is a testimonial. Get over, if you are in the Toronto area, I don't care where you are, I don't care if you're in Niagara Falls, get over to BPC Chicken.
It is the best Portuguese chicken, BPC. It is located at 942 the Queensway in Toronto. So if you're listening to our podcast, as we said, and you're listening from elsewhere, but you have family who's in and around the Toronto area, send them to BPC. They are the best Portuguese chicken, hands down. Plus, they have freshly made custard tarts, a great Portuguese tradition.
He didn't bring me one of those.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't get it over the border. Wait, you don't know the story I told you.
He had a custard tart in his pocket, I think. He ate it on the plane, the bastard.
Well, I couldn't resist, right? So 942 the Queensway is where you can reach them. You can find them. And if you mention Nick and Roy, well, I don't know what will happen. If you can mention it, that'll be awesome.
They'll probably throw you out. But listen to me. This is no joke. If you go to BPC Chicken, eat the chicken while you're there, have a meal, but take one home with you and heat it up the next day, because I'm going to tell you right now, that is honestly the best chicken. Hats off to BPC Chicken. Best chicken I've ever had, really, honestly. Awesome stuff. I can imagine what it tastes like when it comes off the spit, you know? It
is really, really good. You could take off your New Year's hat to BPC, the best Portuguese chicken. 416-255-7177. 416-255-7177. Just because the holidays are over doesn't mean you can't treat yourself to the best Portuguese chicken. BPC, slinging chickens since 2010. So I found out while doing research for the podcast that giraffes do not have vocal cords, and this is how I proved it. Giraffes do not have any vocal cords. Okay, so hold on. I want you to hear this. Here is some audio of a giraffe. You hear that? Hold on. Let me play it for you again. I'll play it louder. Hold on. Okay, got it? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Now, because they don't have vocal cords. Giraffes do have a voice box, but perhaps they don't produce the sufficient airflow through their 13-foot-long trachea to vibrate the vocal folds like humans have to make noises. So the researchers suspected the reason no one heard a giraffe communicate was because the sound frequency was too low for humans to hear. So I actually was playing some giraffe audio. You just couldn't hear it because the frequencies are too low.
God,
so the reason...
I wish sometimes you were a giraffe.
Yep. I'm not a giraffe, and I do have vocal cords. So I can tell you this, of the many jingles that Roy has written and performed that we have on the show, the science jingle is one of the most popular.
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
What?
Oh, please.
Hold on. One more time. What is it?
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
Einstein was a moron?
Yeah, Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
Science. That's right. So those of you who want the lyrics to the jingles that we have here on the Totally Useless Information podcast, we just gave it to you.
As you listen to the podcast week after week, you'll notice that Nick seems to be obsessed with urine and penises, which is starting to worry me, being that he's sitting right next to me. Get your hands off me. No, really, get your hands off me.
That's not my hand. So tell them what this is.
So anyway, he's obsessed with urine and penises. And I'm obsessed with Heidi Klum, but that's another story we'll tell you. As he demonstrates in this clip, he's very interested about penises.
The average size of an elephant's penis is feet long. Okay. So we went from bones in the last science segment to the elephant's penis, from one bone to another, basically 4 to 5 feet long. It is the longest of any land animal.
So I guess I should be happy that my wife called me Dumbo.
Yes, exactly. Gee, thanks, honey. I didn't think you cared. And there's a good reasons why elephants have these extra large penises. It's hard enough for a 6-ton animal like it is to get in the right position for sex, let alone having to do the right rhythmic thrusting that's required. So he lets his penis do all the work for him, as he should. And if you really look carefully, behind his eye, there's a leak from his temporal gland. And that means he's basically in heat. So look out for the 4 to 5 foot long elephant penis.
Yeah, that's a 5-footer.
All right. No problem. I get it. I understand. How about this? Roy, at one point in one of the Totally Useless Information podcast episodes, revealed a story about a woman who lost her wedding ring in her garden. Did she find it? Let's find out.
A woman in Scandinavia, I believe, lost her wedding ring and found it 16 years later. She was an avid gardener. She lost her wedding ring. 16 years later, she found it when she pulled a carrot out of the ground, and it was around the carrot.
That's cool.
You can't make that crap up.
That's an amazing story. Here's my question. Was it 16 or 18 carats?
Very funny.
I know. I love puns. We have a segment on the show where we answer emails from our listeners. The email address, as we said, is tuipodcast@outlook.com.
Hit us up.
Here is how we introduced the mailbag jingle that was written and performed by Roy.
And we get mail from you guys from time to time.
And when we do, this is what we hear in our heads.
What's in the mailbag today? Who sent the letter anyway? What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
That's funny. It's very funny. That's how my mail gets delivered to me every day. The mail person does that. So I just recorded it and put it on the show.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
Welcome to Mailman Idol.
Okay, I love this one. This is when I address a section of our audience. The tree-hugging hippies. Okay, listen to this one. This one's out there for all you tree-hugging hippies. Okay? And they all tell us, plastic. We don't want plastic in the landfills, and don't want plastic in the water, and it's plastic, and they don't even want plastic straws in the United States anymore. That's another story. Okay, plastic takes 450 years to decompose. That is a very long time, 450 years. So the hippie-loving tree huggers, they want you to use glass instead of plastic. Well, I got news for you, tree huggers. It takes 4,000 years for glass to decompose. So now we're going to have a world filled with dirty glass all over the place. And glass will cut, and the plastic doesn't cut you when you step on it.
No, exactly. See? There you go. What did you call them, you tree-hugging hippies? Here's the thing. So what if you put a plastic straw in a glass bottle and throw it away? What happens?
You're arrested in California.
What's your crime? I use plastic in a glass bottle. Boy, someday the tree-hugging hippies, boy.
They'll get me.
Roy is also fascinated with urine.
A tree.
Yeah, you'll be up a tree. Roy is also fascinated with urine, okay? Never mind what he said about me earlier.
Just to drink it.
Okay. No, ew. Here he is talking about how lobsters pee and how turtles breathe.
Here's a little science disgusting stuff, which I love. Okay. We know it's also animals, but it's science. Okay. Did you know that lobsters, what we all love and pay a lot of money to eat, they pee or urinate from their face? Okay? So when a lobster's pissed off, Don't look him in the face because he's for real. Now, listen, wait a second. It gets worse.
Listen, okay, go ahead.
No, it gets worse. It gets worse. Turtles can breathe from their anuses, from their asses. The turtles actually breathe from their buttocks. That's nowhere I want to be breathing from.
No, exactly. And you know what? I would not want to give mouth-to-tail resuscitation.
No, it's terrible. It's horrible.
So so then what you're saying is you can call a lobster a piss face.
Yes, or a turtle, you could say, "Did you fart?" And he says, "Yes, I tasted." It's horrible.
It is. So those of you who were having turtle soup and lobster for dinner, think again.
Nick has had a fair share of disgusting food items, as we hear in this highlight. He then talks about how to safely free yourself from the grips of a crocodile. How the hell does Nick know how to safely free yourself from a crocodile when I'm the one who lives in Florida and should know about the crocodiles? But that's okay, because after this show, I'm going to send Nick around the lake to just tiptoe around the lake with no shoes on. I'm going to attach a pork butt to his pants.
Who are you calling pork butt? I'll walk around with Crocs. Anyway, here's the grip. Here's the clip.
Here's the grip. Here's the grip. The guy can't even speak anymore.
Here's a fun fact for you. Do you like fast food?
I do not. I try to stay away from it, although I do love it.
Okay, well, here's the thing. If you're a fast food junkie, be aware, the average person will consume 12 pubic hairs in their fast food every year.
Oh, yummy.
So the moral of that story is stay away from the curly fries.
Animals, crazy animals.
On the Totally Useless Information podcast. So, yes, we apologize for the preceding fun fact.
That's disgusting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, animals is one of the most popular useless information category. A lot of people have asked us all about animals. Animals are fun. Unless you are in the midst of the grip of the jaw of a crocodile. That would kind of suck because you're in the grip of the crocodile's jaw. Here is a way for you to get out of the grip of the jaw. Simply push your thumb into its eyes and it will let go right away. In fact, that's useful information.
And let's do the disclaimer. Kids, don't do this at home. Try your best to stay away from the crocodiles, and then you don't have to worry about sticking fingers in any eyes.
You're listening to the Totally Useless Information podcast, the New Year's special highlights and bloopers. When Roy and I were recording the Thanksgiving special, I started talking about the town names that had turkey in it.
Oh, this was good.
Yeah, and somehow we wound up talking about different revelations that, for example, that there's a town in Newfoundland, Canada, named Dildo.
That was all he had to say.
Now you're thinking, well, wait a minute, what about in Canada? There's a Turkey Point in southwestern Ontario, named for the abundance of wild turkeys in the area. And the U.S. may have more places than Turkey, but we in Canada have a Dildo, Newfoundland. We also have a...
No,
hold on.
Stop. No,
What?
no. Dildo, Newfoundland.
Yes.
Okay.
These are unusual names.
Why? Why would anybody want to live in Dildo, Newfoundland? What are they,
We also have a head smashed in Buffalo Jump in Alberta.
Okay, I'd rather live in Head Smashed In than tell somebody, where do you live? I live in Dildo. I love Dildo.
Better yet, where would you stay when you go there?
Yeah, you'd stay at the Dildo Inn. Where'd you go? Dildo High. Dildo High School.
On that note, on that wild note,
Yeah.
we have to go. I think
I lived on Dong Street in the town of Dildo. Oh my God. What the hell's going on with Canadians? There's so many words in the English language. You could have picked a French one. Head smash. It's okay. But dildo? I don't know.
Needless to say, we did not include it on the Thanksgiving podcast because it was warm and heartwarming and friendly, and we did not include that. That's why we saved it for this show.
Yeah, and on the podcast, we try to keep track of what facts we've already presented, but sometimes that's not the case, usually for Nick, who has some sort of memory loss, as we show you here.
Speaking of pigs, the only animal besides a human that can get sunburn is a pig.
Oh, yeah? Well, we said that in another show.
Did we? Yeah. Okay, hold on. So, did I tell you my joke then? What do you call a pig that goes to one of those massage parlors? Pulled pork.
Too bad. That was a good one. You want to use it over? Do it over.
Okay, hold on. So let's do that again. So
you put the extra up. We didn't even do phrases yet.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
We'll
do one last fun fact, then next break. Okay. So the only animal besides the human that can get sunburn is I think I did this one already, is a pig, isn't it? Well, yeah. I got so excited about pigs, I figured the following is an encore presentation. The only animal besides humans that can get sunburn is a pig.
Hold on. It gets better. Nick forgot who shot Abe Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln's dog was also assassinated. Now, we know that President Lincoln was assassinated by David Booth. Was it David Booth? Yeah, Dave. Dave Booth.
David.
Is it not David Booth?
I guess that was John Wilkes' brother.
He was framed. He was framed for the wrong murder. David killed his dog.
You better leave this in the show and not edit this out.
All right. I live in Toronto now. It's coming up on 30 years next year. Okay, so maybe I forgot a little bit about American history, but
Abe Lincoln.
At least I didn't change Thanksgiving to a Wednesday.
But in 1942, it went back to the fourth Wednesday in November.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
You said Wednesday.
I did? Okay. Yeah. And it wasn't until, this is an editing nightmare. Finally, Nick is down here. He brings me the BPC chicken, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. But now is my chance to get Nick to go to DeMarlo. So right after the show, Nick is off to DeMarlo Salon and Spa to get a signature spa pedicure, which is like an hour-long thing. They put the mask. They do a massage on your feet, your calves.
Why would they put a mask on me?
They need to put a bag on you, not just a mask. But that's not your problem. That's the poor girl that's going to be doing the pedicure problem. But basically, she can get therapy after the hour of looking at you. But DeMarlo Salon Spa. Then after their couples pedicure in these cool chairs that they have. But after the couples pedicure, they're going off to a couples massage. It's amazing. DeMarlo Salon and Spa is located in Naples on Vanderbilt Beach Road and Collier Boulevard. They've been there for some 17 years. They've had locations in New York and other places. Fantastic. DeMarlo Salon and Spa. You can find them on www.demarlosalon.com or call them at 239-793-2020. That's 239-793-2020. Again, DeMarlo Salon and Spa. Hair, skincare, massage. They do it all. It's amazing. You got to see their retail department, too. It's such a great place. DeMarlo Salon Spa in Naples.
You're listening to the Totally Useless Information Podcast, New Year's special, highlights and bloopers.
Here's a classic blooper from the podcast. Nick was giving a list of who was born on the 4th of July.
You know who else was born on the 4th of July? The great musician Neil Simon in 1927. And George Steinbrenner, the great legendary baseball owner of the New York Yankees, July 4th, 1930.
Did you say Neil Simon or Paul Simon?
Oh, my God.
Neil Simon's a playwright.
Speaking of the fine education system in New York, okay, let's take that again, shall we?
One of our favorite highlights from the show is when Nick talked about the percentage of vanilla ice cream that's consumed. I reminded everyone where the vanilla extract comes from.
The portion of ice cream sold that is vanilla, that yummy, delicious beaver excrement, is 1/3. 33%. 33% of ice cream sold is vanilla.
That was in one of our shows. Vanilla uses the excrement from the anus of a beaver. So, I mean, that was one of the disgusting food facts.
I won't even take chocolate. As we get ready to ring in the new year, we would like to thank our sponsors, BPC, the best Portuguese chicken in the Toronto area, and DeMarlo Hair Salon and Spa in Naples, Florida. But I have to look back at one of the commercials we did for BPC. Their slogan is slinging chickens since 2010. I changed it just a little bit. BPC, swinging chickens since 2010.
You said swinging.
Did I? That's how they deliver it. They swing the chicken.
That's chickens doing whatever they want. That's all the time that we have for this New Year's Eve special, folks. Really, really want to thank you for listening and hitting us up on Spreaker and YouTube and all the different platforms that we're on. Also, I want to thank you for going to our sponsors. It's such a great response. Thanks again. And we look forward to many, many more fun-filled episodes throughout the year ahead. Nick and I can't wait to bring you more totally useless information.
We thank each and every one of you. You've been with us from the very beginning. We appreciate all of your support and your ideas. Remember, TUIpodcast@outlook.com. Look forward to your emails. There are many, many ways for you to get to us if we haven't gotten to you already.
Food.
Yeah. Food. Yes.
Or for Nick penises in urine.
No. TUI Podcast.
Heidi Klum.
TUI.
Get to me anytime, no.
TUI Podcast @outlook.com. Hey, if you're a divorce lawyer, you'd like to sponsor our show, you're more than welcome. And so, as we turn to the new year, wait till. That's right. For the Swedish audience, that was for you. Wait till you hear what's next in 2020. In the meantime, I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy, and tell a friend about the trend.
Happy New Year!